Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. I got treatment in a hyperbaric chamber this morning, Tony. You ever been in one of those?
Tony Kornheiser, you know, I try to avoid things that remind me of coffins. No.
Well, it's glass or plastic.
Did you like
it's clear. Let me put it that way. So you don't feel like you're in an MRI machine. I didn't feel claustrophobic. Right. It felt fine. It felt like Michael Jackson, except no chimp and no glove.
That's not a cold tub, though, right? That's not a cold tub.
No. I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing any cold temperatures.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Panthers are maneuvering for a third straight Stanley Cup. A good night for aces. And Taylor Twellman joins us to break down tonight's Gold Cup semi between the United States and Guatemala. But we begin today with reports by The Athletic and ESPN that Mike Brown is expected to be the next head coach of the Knicks. Brown has coached 4 different NBA teams. 2 of them were Cleveland. His tenure is separated by 3 seasons. Brown was Coach of the Year in Cleveland in 2009, Coach of the Year in Sacramento in 2023, and of course, fired by both teams as well as the Lakers. Wilbon, how should the Knicks feel if they end up with Mike Brown?
Well, Tony, I mean, you talk about professional coaches in the world. Mike Brown has a resume that glitters. I mean, first of all, he's done difficult things nobody wants to do, like follow a legend. Hello, Phil Jackson. He's coached big stars, the biggest of stars, Kobe, LeBron, Steph Curry, and all the people that they may have teamed with at some point in time. He coached them. He's coached under Pop. He was on the bench, not just on the bench with Steve Kerr, but when Steve Kerr had those back issues, right? And you had coaches Walton and Brown had to do real coaching. They had to really work and gain the confidence of those people. There's nothing on Mike Brown's resume. And if you're going to talk about replacing Tibbs, who we all know is one of the great defensive coaches in the last 25 years in the NBA, Mike Brown has been that level of defensive coach, but he's also had the #1 offense. And so you say, okay, what are we getting maybe that's different? And maybe there are similarities to Tibbs, and those may be good, but there is a lighter touch. He's maybe more collaborative than Tibbs has been known to be. So, it may not be the guy that you had up in lights that you wanted on the marquee first, but Mike Brown's a hell of a coach for a long time in the NBA.
I love the wording of the question. The wording of the question is, how should the Knicks feel if they end up with Mike Brown? Like he's a consolation prize. Like you don't get the all-expenses-paid trip to Europe, but let's give you a gift card. Mike Brown's record in regular season games in the NBA is .454 and .304. He wins at a percentage of 59.9%. His record in the playoffs is 50-40. And, he wins more than he loses. He took LeBron James to the finals in Cleveland, and he took Sacramento to the playoffs when they hadn't been there in 17 years. Now, he gets fired because everybody gets fired. First prize is the Cadillac, and second prize is the steak knives, and third prize is you're fired. But he's a professional coach, and he's being hired, if it happens, by a management that is amateurish. Every single thing the Knicks have done, including firing Tom Thibodeau, has made them look worse. Day by day, worse. So he is, Mike, and I'll get out of here on this, Mike Brown is on some level better than the Knicks deserve right now. I'm done.
Coming from a longtime Knicks fan observer, Tony, that you should get the last word on that, and you will. Because we're going to move now to the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champs, Florida Panthers, who are somehow keeping the band together. In the last few days, the Panthers have agreed to extensions with Sam Bennett, Brad Marchand, and Aaron Ekblad, defying a history that's seen top teams have to part with stars due to cap constraints. Tony, how realistic is it to you right now that the Panthers will win a 3rd straight cup?
So you are telling me that they kept all their important free agents. And I assume they still have Kachuk, and I assume they still have Bobrovsky. And they have now been to the Stanley Cup final 3 years in a row. And 2 years in a row they won it. And it was easier this year than last year, because this year took them 6 games. And last year took them 7 games against the same opponent. And now you're asking me, does this upgrade their chances of winning again? And I would say, sure, because unless Gretzky and Lemieux and Orr and Hull are walking through that door, I'm going to take Florida. And then, Mike, And then if they win again, that's a long way from winning, but if they win again, then we use the word dynasty. Because 3 in a row is a big deal. Gretzky's Oilers did not win 3 in a row. The Penguins with Lemieux and Yager and later Crosby, they did not win 3 in a row. The Canadiens won 5 in a row, I believe, in the late 50s. They won 4 in a row in the late 70s. The Islanders won 4 in a row in the early 80s. But if they come back, if Florida comes back and they make it again for 4 in a row and win it again for 3 in a row, that's a big deal.
It is, Tony, but I'll take the field, and I want to get to the history of what they've done. And you can do this in Florida because there's some incentive. In places that I'm going to name in a second, like California and Illinois and Pennsylvania, there's something called state taxes, and you might not feel as enriched when you sign that deal in those states as you feel in Florida. But I'm going to mention some teams now. The Blackhawks, Penguins, Kings, well, and Tampa does have that in Florida, but those first 3, they won a couple, Tony. The Blackhawks won 3. And then I would look up on opening night when they're raising the flag to the roof of the United Center, and I would say, wait a minute, where's half of our damn team? They're gone. Because the really difficult rules of the NHL forced you to get rid of those guys. And so the Blackhawks won 3 in 5 years, but they couldn't go after 3 in a row, really. They had a chance once. And those other teams did too. I mean, the Kings had that chance. The Penguins had chances. The Lightning. And so the NHL, I'm upset that my franchise didn't get the benefit of this. But if you're a fan of the Panthers, and now you're right, they're going to have a shot at building a dynasty when other capable teams with capable managements did not.
It's tax codes. You can sign for less money because you get to keep more money in a state like Florida, which is why 30,000 people that you know try to live there half the year for tax purposes. Let's move to baseball.
Only 30,000.
Last night saw 3 stellar pitching performances. Paul Skeens, 5 innings for the Pirates, allowing no runs, getting no decision in a game Pittsburgh eventually won. Yoshinobu Yamamoto went 7 innings for the Dodgers, allowed 1 run in an easy win for the Dodgers over the White Sox. Jacob deGrom, 6 innings for the Rangers, allowing 2 runs as Texas routed Baltimore. Wilbon, which one would you most want the rest of the way this season?
I love Yamamoto, but it's the White Sox. It's like going against a college team. No, White Sox, no. And the Orioles, I know they're coming on a little bit, but no. Paul Skeens went against the St. Louis Cardinals, okay? And Paul Skeens, until recently, I know the Pirates have won that preposterous 4 games by 7 runs or more, whatever that ridiculous stat is. But they've had like the worst offense in baseball for most of the season. He gets no run support, and Skeens goes out there. And I know it was 88 pitches. It wasn't like, Bob Gibson or Fergie Jenkins going 130 and 9+ innings. But he went out there and he blanked the Cardinals. I will take Paul Skeens anywhere, anytime, and walk into a dark alley and go against anybody. I want Skeens.
Yeah, it's interesting. You're preaching to the choir here because I love Skeens, and I'll get to it in a second. But last week you talked about The Miz and how The Miz beat Paul Skeens, and you indicated to me on the show that Paul Skeens wasn't all that. Okay, so just so we have that on the record.
I just said I'll take The Miz.
Yes, you did. No, you did. You certainly did. You've been junking Paul Skeens for 2 years now, especially when he started the All-Star game, and you said he didn't deserve to do that. I remember. We could look up the tape. Look, all of these pitchers are great, right? They're all great. At the moment, deGrom is what? He's 9-2 and a 2.13 ERA. Went 6 innings at least in his last 6 starts. Yamamoto, 8-6, 2.50 ERA. Retired the last 10 in a row yesterday. The last 10 right in a row. Skeens only has 4 wins. He's 4-7, 2.03 ERA. Like you, give me Skeens. Give him to me this year. Give him to me for the next 10 years. Because in his last 12 starts, you want to talk about getting no support? In his last 12 starts, he has 1 win. He's 1-5, and his ERA is 1.84, and he has 76 strikeouts in 73 innings. He is a great pitcher at the moment on a bad team, a team that's won 5 in a row, but a bad team, and we've seen this before. We saw it with Garrett Cole. Like, the guy gives up nothing and doesn't even get the decision. He's pitching in hard luck right now. Let's take a break.
Real quickly, for the record, I don't like Skeens because he's in my division. He's a great pitcher. What I said is I will take Skeens and Miz every day while I root against them with every fiber of my being. Don't ever say I junk Skeens, because
You did.
I'll come out
You
with
did.
money out
You've
of
been
my
doing
own
it for 2
pocket
years.
to pay Skeens to put him in a Cub uniform.
Oh.
Are you crazy?
Fantastic. NIL money for Skeens as well. Let's take a break.
Yes,
Coming up, what's at stake
NIL.
for the U.S. men's soccer team tonight against Guatemala? We're going to ask Taylor Twellman.
There's somebody in Skeens calling Messi's teammates statues who run as if they're carrying bags of cement. Come on now.
Zlatan.
I'll take Skeens.
Zlatan is the best. Yeah.
Zlatan's
Reluctantly.
crazy.
Pardon the Interruption is brought to you by...
The U.S. men's soccer team takes on Guatemala tonight in a Gold Cup semifinal, which makes it a perfect time to bring back the lead analyst for MLS Season Pass on Apple TV, our friend Mr. Taylor Twellman. And let us start with this. What has impressed you so far in their run in the Gold Cup? What has impressed you about the U.S. men's team? And what still needs work, do you think?
Tony, one thing that's impressed me is that there's actually a pulse within this group. And for the first time in a long time, we saw the real grittiness of the red, white, and blue come out. And I've been highly critical of the personality of this team. We've talked about the individual quality that this team has and whether they're with the Gold Cup team or not. But we're talking about, can you roll up your sleeves and be gritty? And when they missed the penalty in the quarterfinal against Costa Rica and then got into a scuffle, guys, I know this sounds very simple, but you saw the group come together. You saw the group look at the Costa Rica side and look at the players that were in their face and say, we're done with this. We're done with this, and we're going to take care of business. That is something we have always had. The fact that we've even had to question that, that's a bigger concern. So I love the fact that within this group of players, I've seen a pulse. What I need to see more of is quality. I've got to see quality. And especially in the semifinal tonight against Guatemala, on paper, they should win this game 4 or 5-0. So should Canada. And Canada lost. So you cannot not use the home field advantage that's going to be in St. Louis. It's going to be a heavily American crowd. Can you punch Guatemala in the face and show the quality that is within the group? I still haven't seen enough quality on the field from the group. However, I believe that there's a pulse which is giving me positive light.
Well, a lot of that, of course, we're going to trace to Mauricio Pochettino at some point, maybe now. So if he's not on a hot seat, Taylor, he's certainly in a bright spotlight. Has your assessment of him moved much at all in recent weeks?
No, but how remarkable is that you guys are now talking to me after about 72 hours ago that there was a rumor floating around before the quarterfinal against Costa Rica that Mauricio Pochettino spoke with Brentford about their vacant job. Now, he has unequivocally denied that, but you guys know this. You've been in sports longer than I have. There could have been a conversation or two. However, I haven't seen anything tactically that's changed. I haven't seen anything within the personnel that has changed. But I saw emotion. Because when that camera panned to him after winning the penalty kick shootout against Costa Rica, I saw the real passion, and he's looking into the camera, screaming and showing that he is 100% in this job, in this moment. But those rumors were strong, false, true. It doesn't matter to me. That the Premier League will always be knocking down the door for Mauricio Pochettino. But when he won the penalty kick shootout, he may have won my attention because you cannot fake that emotion that he showed in the camera. And I think he may have won the group of players for the moment.
Well, of course, that sets up tonight. Let's go back to Guatemala. We mentioned it already. Taylor, what actually is at stake here? What if we shred all the stuff about what could be and what might be, what is actually at stake?
Well, first off, you're going to play for, you can play for a final if you win the game, Michael. So first and foremost, you got to hold serve. You're at home. It's going to be a pro-United States crowd in St. Louis. So that's the first, and that's the macro level. But the micro level is this. Individually, you're playing for your chance to play in the World Cup, in the biggest World Cup, at home for the red, white, and blue, less than a year from now. So the Tillmans, the Freezes, the Lunas of the world that have shown real well in this tournament, you've got to continue that. Can you be the positive player that you've been throughout the tournament and cement yourself in the final 26-man roster less than a year from now? But more so, You need collectively as a group validation. Us three were talking about this tournament before the tournament started. And there's the conversation about Pulisic's not here, McKennie's not here, Weah's not here, Robinson's not here. So right away, the collective on the outside says, well, this is the B or the C team. Internally, that doesn't matter. Collectively, you've got to validate that you're still good enough, even as a B or C team, to win a continental tournament. I said it when the tournament started, it was Canada's to lose. They lost. Now it's the United States that are favored to win this tournament. You have to get the job done to give you some positivity going into your club season and, more importantly, going into the World Cup less than a year from now.
We will get you out of here on this. We're going to leave the Gold Cup behind and get to something that Wilbon cares about a lot more. And that is after watching Inter Miami, and you're tight with Messi, after watching Inter Miami get crushed by PSG in the Club World Cup, the great Zlatan called Messi's teammates, here's a quote, statues who run as if they're carrying bags of cement, unquote. Your reaction?
Hold on, I got to ask Messi permission if I can answer this. Messi, can I answer this? Yeah, I can. Okay, cool. I can. Zlatan's the best quote in all of sports. He was once asked, what did he get his wife for his birthday? And he said to the reporter in Italy, nothing. She's already got Zlatan. He's as good as it comes when it comes to a quote, guys. I will say this, though. If you notice what Zlatan said in the regular season of MLS.
This is fabulous. Thank you so much for being
Taylor,
on the show.
thank you so much, man. Appreciate you.
Good seeing you, boys.
All right, Wilbon, Taylor has top 10 odds of winning that celebrity golf tournament in next week in Lake Tahoe that you've been in. Wish him luck now. Wish him luck.
Ooh, good luck. He doesn't need it. He's good.
Long money for me, boys. Long money.
Let's take one last break. Still to come, Shohei Ohtani does something only one Dodger has done before.
And the Indiana Fever win the midseason tournament without Caitlin Clark. You know how I feel about these midseason tournaments in basketball. They're trying to copy soccer. They can't get their own identity. Let's steal something, NBA and WNBA, from...
Happy time, people. Happy 30th birthday, Ryan Murphy. Murphy holds the Olympic record in the 100-meter backstroke, which he set in 2016 in Rio de Janeiro. Murphy has a total of 9 Olympic swimming medals, including 5 gold medals, 100-meter backstroke, 200-meter backstroke, 4x100 mixed medley relay, and a couple in the 4x100 men's medley relay. The backstroke's a specialized event. There aren't that many medals available to backstrokers. The problem with being an American male swimmer is Michael Phelps. Phelps is bigger than everybody. Phelps has 23 Olympic gold medals.
His shadow looms large. He could be right behind me right now on the golf course because Phelps is out here in the desert playing golf more often than swimming now, though maybe not right now where it was 116 like 2 days ago.
Happy anniversary, Joe DiMaggio. This is obviously posthumous, but on this day 84 years ago, the Yankee Clipper hit a home run to left field in Yankee Stadium over the head of his hitting rival Ted Williams. That hit gave DiMaggio Major League Baseball's longest single-season hitting streak at 45 games, surpassing the record Wee Willie Keeler set in 1897. Ultimately, DiMaggio hit in 56 straight games, a record that hasn't been challenged since Pete Rose got to 44 in 1978. The closest since Rose was Philadelphia's Jimmy Rollins, getting to 38 over 2005 and 2006.
I know some records have fallen in baseball where records are more important than any other team sport in North America. But, Tony, we're not seeing 56, are we? It's not going to happen.
No. We're not seeing 512 wins, and we're not seeing 57.
No,
we're not.
We're not seeing that either.
Happy trails, Francisco Comasana. The Argentine singles player fell in Wimbledon's second round to Frenchman Corentin Moutet. This result is in the show for just one highlight, in which Moutet fakes a smash and instead executes a between-the-legs drop shot. Tennis players can hit shots behind their backs and through their legs. They're fabulous. Every once in a while, it's a show-off move. He'd done something similar against Novak Djokovic in the French Open. Doesn't this feel a little show-offy to you, Wilbon?
I mean, maybe, but not in the context. His opponent went between the legs on the previous shot. How much showing off can you do if you're greeted with that before you hit your shot?
All right, let's go to the big finish. The
Let's do it.
Fever beat the Lynx for the WNBA Commissioner's Cup. I know your thoughts.
Yeah, because I'm not 24 years old and I don't do cups in the middle of the season. Wake me when the playoffs start. The Astros shut down Yordan Alvarez after the slugger suffered a setback with his fractured right hand. Big loss?
Yeah, he's a great hitter. He's only played in 29 games this year. He's a great hitter. They're a good team. He's a great hitter. The Pistons landed former Heat shooter Duncan Robinson. Is that a big deal?
Yeah, Duncan Robinson's a 40% shooter from three career, and we don't know what's up with Malik Beasley. So, yes, it's a big deal. Shohei hit his 30th last night. That's significant, isn't it?
He's a great player. We can talk about him and Aaron Judge every single day. Last one,
Yeah.
the Marlins have won 8 in a row. Do I hear 9 from you? Do I hear 9?
No. They're 10.5 still behind Philly. I'm not going to get excited about that streak yet.
We're ahead of the Nats, though. Ugh. We're out of time. Try and do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knucklehead. Tomorrow.
For the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. I got trapped into the hyperbaric chamber this week.
Mike with our PTI bonus segment.
All right, Wilbon, what is your reaction to the Knicks reportedly hiring Mike Brown as head coach?
I'm happy for Mike Brown, Tony, who I've known a long time and root for. And I hope that this is the horse that he can ride into the winner's circle. Because he's done so many things in and around great teams, great players, worked for Greg Popovich, worked for Phil Jackson, followed Phil Jackson, actually, worked for Steve Kerr. I mean, he's worked with Kobe Bryant and LeBron James and Steph Curry. I mean, he's been to the finals. I mean, he's been coach of the year. He's been fired. His resume is the resume that is of someone you want to come in if you've got something like the New York Knicks and you're searching and you are, who's going to lead us? Mike Brown's got all the qualifications. I hope this horse delivers for him.
Yeah, I agree with you completely that he has all the qualifications. In fact, his career is rather comparable to Tom Thibodeau, who had all the qualifications, and neither of us understand why the guy was fired. They are essentially firing A and replacing him with A. Yeah, they're the same guy. I mean, they both have good regular season records. Mike Brown has a better playoff record. Mike Brown, as you said, got to the finals with Cleveland. He brought Sacramento into the playoffs when they hadn't been in the playoffs in like 17 years. He's a professional basketball coach. He is in a lot of ways better than the Knicks deserved, as was Tom Thibodeau, because their management, from the owner to Leon Rose, all of them, they're amateurs. And the way they have behaved since firing Thibodeau and including that firing has been amateurish. They have tried to bully the rest of the league. They have tried to hire people who are under contract to other teams. Come on. I wish Mike Brown success too, but I actually don't want to give credit to the Knicks for hiring him because I don't think they really wanted to hire him.
But Tony, maybe they're going to get it right this time. He's had a long-standing and productive relationship with Leon Rose, but now he's got to work for Dolan. So it's going to be fascinating to see Mike Brown in this case. By the way, if you're looking for differences with Tibbs, maybe, Mike Brown, I think everybody would agree, is more collaborative. That's his style, which may differ from Tibbs. Doesn't mean one is better than the other, just different. But the Knicks are going to start the season as the favorites in the East, along with the Cavaliers. And Mike Brown's going to have a chance. And I think those of us who know and like and respect Mike Brown hope that's good enough to change things just a little bit this time. That's it. We're done. Back to you.